Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Valina, and on this channel I share my little experiments in applying all kinds of non-fiction books, especially related to wellness and productivity. If that's something you're interested in, then keep on watching. Today I wanted to share with you 5 techniques that I took away from this book called The Confidence Code by Katty and Shipman. It's essentially a compilation of very interesting psychology experiments and observations on humans and animals' behaviors, and they are all related to everybody's favorite topic, which is confidence. Let's dive right into it. The first intake that I took away from this book is that your confidence level is 25 to 50% genetics. There's a whole chapter about it in the book, but essentially this is because our genes determine the way our hormones behave in our brain, which in turn determine our actions, which in turn determine the way we behave in real life. For instance, if you take serotonin, which is the hormone that is responsible for calming your primitive brain, and this part of the brain is basically here to help you flee life-threatening situations. So for example, if you are in front of a tiger, you have to run. So this part of the brain will prepare your big muscle to run very fast. And the serotonin is here to calm this part of the brain. And basically, if you have the gene that helps you bring serotonin to your brain faster, it will calm your primitive brain faster, which will make you calmer and therefore appear and feel more confident. The scientists interviewed in this book don't really agree about how big of a role our genes play when it comes to our confidence level, but they all seem to agree that there is some kind of correlation between both. By the way, this reminds me of a great TED Talks I'm sure you've all heard about with Dr. Amy Katty on the fact that our posture affects our hormones, which in turn affects our confidence level. I will link it below. It's very interesting. Intake number 2 is that perfectionism and overthinking can really kill our confidence level. And according to the authors, these are the two main things that are responsible for the social gap between men and women when it comes to confidence. Although I don't really think that it's necessary to emphasize on the gender gap, I think that they make a very good point. The thing is, when you feel pressure to be perfect, you tend to be afraid to fail, and therefore you don't even try, and you miss on the opportunity to practice, and therefore you will feel even less confident next time the occasion presents itself. And then the loop goes on and on and on. To break free from this cycle, the book recommends to take action first and think later, get exposed to failures regularly and get used to that feeling, and learn to move on fast when you fail. It's easier said than done, but there are a few techniques that you can use if you want to try that out. For the first one, so take actions first and think later, you can just force yourself to do it to get used to failures. You can register for a sport competition, for example, so that you can get used to the feeling of failing. In the book, they say that usually little boys are more used to the feeling of failures because they are usually more exposed to it. For example, in boys groups, they usually tease each other, whereas it doesn't happen very often in girls groups. So little boys also like to participate in sport competitions, which allow them to get used to the feeling of failures and to try again faster. You can also rewire your brain through cognitive behavior therapy. According to the scientists who were interviewed in this book, behaviors that you adopt the most frequently will change the structure of your brain. And basically, ever since you've been a kid, you have created little neuron pathways to make you think a certain way and therefore behave a certain way, and therefore appear or feel more confident or not in certain situations. And the idea is to create new pathways on top of the ones that you've already created during childhood, so that next time you will process information in a way that will allow you to feel and appear more confident. If you want to try that out, the most efficient way is probably to go through therapy with an expert. a psychologist, for example. If you want to do it by yourself, you can exercise the control of your mind through meditation, but also like your posture and everything. If you are interested, I will probably post another video with confidence postures that we can try out to do little experiments together, just to see if we feel any different about our confidence level. The final intake is that everybody has confidence issues, even the one at the top. The first chapter of this book was filled with summaries of interviews with women leaders, including, for example, Christine Lagarde and Angela Merkel. And all of them have experienced some kind of confidence issues in their career, especially when they were just getting started. And I'm sure that the same goes for men, even though they don't speak about it much in this book. I don't know what you're currently struggling with and in which domain you don't feel confident, because I personally think that confidence is something that is domain specific, which means that you can be confident in one domain but not in another. For me, it has always been my speaking skills, even in French, my primary language, and even with friends and family. I can go through a whole evening without speaking to anybody, especially in group settings. Now that I live abroad in an English-speaking country, this has become even harder. As you can tell, my English is not perfect, so I'm always concerned that people won't understand what I'm trying to say, so I don't even bother to try, and that makes me miss the opportunity to practice, so I feel even less confident next time the occasion presents itself. And that's the whole vicious cycle I talked about earlier. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to create this channel and not just a blog, because I wanted to practice my English. If you're also working on your confidence issues, I highly recommend this book. I think that it's very empowering and it has inspired me a lot to take actions and to get used to failures. I hope that you will find it useful as well. As usual, there will be a free PDF on the website for those of you who want to try that out. Stay tuned as well for my next video with the confidence postures. I really hope that you will join me in this little experiment. And I thank you very much for watching, and I see you in my next video. Bye guys!